And so here I am in this moment, filled, pregnant with infinite possibility. That one conscious moment, I allow myself to be free of everything that ails me, everything that appears to be some kind of stoppage or blockage or obstruction or whatever that is. I can in this moment release all of that and let it go and put it aside and just enjoy the company of the beauty and grace of spirit that fills me. Allow myself to truly court back the presence that's always courting me. Lean into the embrace that's everlasting and allow myself the peacefulness of that, the centeredness of that, the joy of that, and be filled with that love and that power and that infinite wisdom and grace that desires only my good without having to know what to say. There is nothing to say in the presence of the divine. There's simply to enjoy and to be. To allow myself that sense that I am so loved, so cherished, so belong, have everything available of good to me, when my faith in my source is truly absolute. When nothing can get in the way of it, no person, place, thing, or situation can stop me from having absolute faith in my source to take care of whatever it is on the outer world I need taken care of, be it mental, physical, spiritual, or emotional. Once I have the faith, it is done. And the way to that faith is to relax, to release, to let go of all concern and simply love up on the presence that's always loving me. Now, I'm ready in this moment now to do exactly that, simply by being and saying yes. Yes to life, yes to its good, yes to the realization of my real and true being. And what I'm knowing for myself, I'm knowing for every person, every beautiful, amazing, individualized expression of life, every person on this plane, the very same thing. For I know no good for myself without knowing it for everyone else besides, and for all of life. For I am the image, I am the likeness of the source of my being who created me. And as spirit desires, as spirit designs, so too do I. That all may be one in life, in light, in love, in unity. And so now I release this statement of my intended truth to be realized by means of me into the cosmos, into all of life, knowing that it wraps itself around it and penetrates every part of it and brings it into being, as I say with gratitude, and so it is.
Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayers. Take charge of what you're saying. Seek a higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness, and know that God is always there. And every thought becomes our prayer.
And so, my dears, welcome into the sanctuary on this wonderful day, the day we're looking at this thing called fulfillment and joy. as Advent moves ahead and lightens more and more and more, and we come to the conclusion of Hanukkah with its fullness of light. It's a beautiful time of year, and as I was saying this morning, that we all appreciate a candle. There's nothing like a real candle that flickers. I know all these artificial ones now look very good and so on, but there's nothing can compare to the real candle. It's magical. There's something about it. And candles feature big in all of our celebrations across cultures right now. But none of those candles compare to the candle of light that each and every one of us happens to be. Each one of us happens to be. Now, when we're in each other's company, we can either diminish that light or enhance that light. We can blow out somebody, at least try to blow out somebody's candle, or we can enrich it and enhance it by infusing it with great light. And so it's a good day to be talking about fulfillment and joy. Now, our wonderful founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, says that the science of mind and spirit basically has one thing in mind, and it is to take us through the dim, dark cavern of the mind and return us back into our original source and its light and its joy. And that happens through acknowledging its power and its presence within us, and understanding that it is the only power, it is the only force, it is the only infinite intelligence that you and I are using all of the time, mostly unconsciously, alas. But nevertheless, once we wake up and understand that the power is with us, the presence is with us, God is with us, in us and through us and as us, and we direct it toward good for ourselves and good for all life besides, well then, all good things are added onto us when we do this. It's called seeking first the kingdom of heaven, which is the kingdom of higher consciousness. And when we do, then everything else happens of good in our lives and through our lives. And that's an important word, through. It's not just in our lives, but through our lives. It's not just for me, but it's for all of life when I wake up and when I want to realize good. It's never just for me. I can never want good just for myself because I don't live in a vacuum. I'm not an isolated thing. I am part for all of life and all of eternity, the whole cosmic life force being. I couldn't differentiate myself from it if I tried, no more than a wave could differentiate itself from the ocean. I am just part of it all, and all of it is part of me. So, of course, when I want good for myself, I want it for all of life. All of life. I want good and only good for all of life. Yes, every person, place, and thing, regardless of whether they're labeled good, bad, or indifferent, I want good and only good for every aspect of life and living, and so do you. That's what the teaching is all about. It's not just the teaching of science of mind and spirit. This is ancient wisdom. This was before even Jesus came on this plane, or Buddha came on this plane, or Muhammad came on this plane, or anybody who's taken their spiritual unfoldment seriously came on this plane. This has been the way it is forever and ever and ever. Good and only good to be desired by every individualized expression of that good in the first place. So whatever material form spirit takes, that material form was created as good and very good, with the whole divine design in it to support good and only good. And so in order for you and for me to have this fulfillment and joy that is ours for the having, we first and foremostly must be living a purposeful and meaningful conscious life. And to live a purposeful and meaning conscious life, there's a way that we can get to that. There's a way for realizing that. And we are told that it is devotion to be in loving service to God, to our neighbor, and to ourselves. And there's no differentiation between the amount of love for God, for our neighbor and for ourselves. It's the same amount of love. It's the same love. There's only one love. That love is God love. That love is permanent, constant, continuous, and that love is my love, your love now. See? And for that to happen, devotion to loving service of others, devotion to loving service in the great community of life, devotion to a purposeful and meaningful life and its unfolding. For that to happen, you and I have to look to one place and one place alone, and that is to the self of ourselves. Because if I have not love for myself, respect for myself, if I cannot honor myself, I cannot honor God or man or anything else either, because I don't know how to do it. I haven't got it in myself. I haven't got it to bring, to put on the table, to give. And I can only bring and put on the table what I have, what I know, what I have. That's all. I may want to put on more, but if I haven't got it, I cannot do that. I can't go into the bank and say, I want to withdraw $100,000 now, and be told, well, you can have 1,000 because that's what you have in the bank, but that's all you're getting, 1,000. You see, I may want to, but it's not going to happen until I have it. So here it is again, the onus is on me and me and me and only on me. The humanity of me has to be redeemed and has to be saved and has to be raised up by me, its Savior. There's no other Savior. There is no other Redeemer. There is no one coming, and there's no one out there. You've heard it before. I have to be that myself. I have to be that myself. I have to be self-directed. Why do I have to be self-directed? Because that's the way I'm made. I'm made to be self-directed. I am made to be in self-control. I am made with an infinite intelligence that is available to me to call on and work from in order to flourish, to thrive, to have life in abundance, to have my joy complete, and to know the peace that passes understanding. And I'll say it and say it and say it until I get it, and you get it too. That's what we're born with and how we could be. We absolutely could be. So the question always is this: are you taking yourself on? Have you taken yourself seriously as a serious project? Because that's your main project in life and living, and it's mine too, to take myself on, raise myself up, and knock off all of the nonsense. I have to do it, and nobody else can do it for me. No one. People can support me. Loved ones can support me, absolutely, and I can support others too. But I can't do it for you, and you can't do it for me. Darn it. Darn it. If only. If only. There's not enough prayers I can say, not enough pilgrimages I can embark upon, not enough classes I can take, not enough visits to all the wise ones in the land that will do it for me. None of that's going to do it for me. I have to take myself on. I have to get to the point where I can love myself, honor myself, respect myself, and then and only then can I love, honor, and respect you. Because I have it. I can bring it, I can give it, I can share it. So you could give yourself the best Christmas gift ever, Hanukkah gift ever, Kwanzaa gift ever, whatever gift ever, by saying to yourself this Christmas time, this holy season time, I am going to gift you with attention and care, with love and respect. I am going to take care of you, and I'm going to raise you up. I'm going to give you what makes you feel safe and secure in order to be open and receptive to flourishing and to thriving. I am in your corner. I stand with you now, and I will see you through. I will see you through whatever it is you think you have as a challenge and are moving through. I will be there for you. When you get that right, when I get that right, then I can turn to another one and say the very same thing and really mean it and really be it and really honor it. But until then, my endeavors will be, well, they'll be iffy. There'll be a bit happening there and a bit happening here, and sometimes it'll happen and sometimes it won't happen. Sometimes I'll make a worse mess than is already there, and so on and so forth. If I don't do this, take care of this. If I don't take care of this, because you are the temple of the Most High. You are the vessel. You are the vessel that houses the divine in all of its radiant light and magnificence. And for that to remain as an experience of all that is divine and magnificence, I must keep guard, safeguard on it, and I must be thinking and feeling and doing what supports that, what keeps it bright, shining, and what opens the gate for that to be revealed and for that to go out into the world and raise it up. If you put a poisonous toxicity into any container, it will disintegrate the container in time. It will destroy the container in time. Now, hatred and resentment and all that goes with the negatives is that toxicity. So, in taking yourself on as your biggest project, it begins with cleansing and clearing out everything in thought, word, and deed that does not belong to a truth student unfolding and expressing the image and the likeness of the divine essence that it is. A big, big task. And I wonder how many of us have ever really taken ourselves onto that degree. Because that's what it takes in order to have a fulfilling, purposeful, meaningful, joyous life. And nothing less will do. We've heard it over and over and over again. We know it all. We've been given all. There are no more steps to be discovered that we have to take in order for this to happen. They're out there. They've been out there for a long time. So what needs to happen now is for you and for me to be open to this, to be really open to understanding I can do it. I have what it takes. I am indeed as precious, as important, as holy as anybody else who has ever walked this plane, is walking it now, or will ever walk this plane. I am of the very same substance and disposition. There's nobody higher, there's nobody lower than me. I loved Maya Angelou when she said, especially, and there's a woman who lived a fulfilled, in my opinion, a fulfilled, purposeful, and joyous life, in spite of all of the challenges, and God knows she had many. She said, you know what, people are just not going to remember anything you're saying. It doesn't matter how beautiful and all the rest of it is. They're not going to remember it. They're even not going to remember what you've done. But they certainly will remember how you've made them feel. They will remember how you have made them feel. And yesterday, here at the Redondo Beach Center for Spiritual Living, thanks to you, every one of you, and those who are not present in this community, you made many, 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 many dozens of people feel loved, honored, welcomed, and respected. Every single person that walked through those doors. It was such an amazing symphony of unity and harmony and oneness as the volunteers who were there worked tirelessly and seamlessly to make everybody feel comfortable and at home and seen and heard and welcomed. You need to go home today feeling really great about yourselves, fantastic about yourselves. knowing the impact you have had on hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of lives, because you have. Because those people who were here yesterday are not the only ones impacted, but all the people in their circles are impacted too, because they will be telling stories about what happened in Redondo Beach yesterday as they go through these days of Christmas. And we have, those who serve, have had the privilege of being witness to people's sacred sharings of what's going on in their lives. Now, the people who are organizing these groups, like the lead person, social worker for Compton, and the lead social worker for Yahweh House, were sharing with me how difficult this past year has been. Fewer and fewer people turning up to serve, fewer and fewer amenities available for them, and more people looking for help and assistance. And as I was sharing this morning, these people are no longer figures we see on the television and on the news. I spoke with a man, I didn't actually listen to a man yesterday with a young son. This man is one of the border people. He's wearing a bracelet. He's waiting his turn to be interviewed to see if he can be given political asylum here. His son was, the families were all separated, and eventually he got his son back after being traveled around the country, including Chicago and God knows where else the boy was. But they came here together yesterday. And that man was so grateful for any assistance he could be given, but for more than that, for the warmth and the welcome that he received. The man is sharing with a friend of his who hasn't got much to share, but he's taken them in while he's going through this process. Because he's wearing the bracelet and going through the process, he can't work. He's not allowed to work. So it's difficult. And he saw a bed, and he asked if he could take the bed home. And we said, of course. And he said, it's wonderful because I've been sleeping on the floor. And so on, and he has his story. And he's from Honduras. If he's returned to that country, eventually he knows that he and the family will be killed. That's just the way of it. I talked to another man who had just been the driver coming in, and I wanted to share these because it's nice for you to know. He just was driving a young mother who is homeless in the sense that she goes from family member to friends, herself and her two little girls, and until she's settled herself. And he was the driver, but he was made to feel warm and welcome, and was welcome to anything that was there. And he came to me, and he's a quiet man, and he said, I don't know if you know the terrific difference this is making to me right now, just right now. He said, I have been detained by ICE for 9 months. And during that time, I had a profound experience of God and the Holy Spirit. And I prayed with other people in the group. And he said, it just changed me. And he said, I won my court case, and now I'm free. I'm free to have a life here and be united with my family and be in the United States of America. And he said, this is a very, very meaningful thing for me, what's happening here today. And he said that through his prayer group and all of that in detention, he said he believes because of the prayer, 40 of them actually were released into society and can stay here. And he said, I was so profoundly moved that I'm thinking of going into ministry now. And he said, you have a wonderful ministry here, and I thank you, thank you, thank you. I had a woman who was crying in my arms because she could give a wonderful Christmas to her family, and she wasn't able to talk because she was crying so much, and the difference that it was making to her and her children. And then there was the grandmother. Oh my gosh, that grandmother, that wonderful grandmother who could hardly walk. She had a cane, but she was taking care of her daughter and her granddaughter. Her daughter had been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in 2005, and she's still making it, thank God. But the grandmother has to take care of it, and she herself recovered from a stroke because of the stress and the strain of it all. The little girl is probably about 4 or 5. And she was taking care, and she was the driver and everything else. And, the woman could hardly walk. I had to help her out to the car and everything else. But she was so grateful and so thankful. And she says, I was a social worker. I used to do this. I used to do this for other people. And again, the blessings to the community for all of this kind of help. Another young woman came bouncing and dancing in. She was so joyous. We didn't think she was going to make it because she had a son in hospital and her daughter had just come out of hospital, caught that terrible virus, these children. She went one day, the little girl woke up and her legs were all blistered and all kinds of things, whipped to the hospital. She had that terrible virus. Took the little girl home, then the brother came down with it. Now he's in hospital with it, but he's doing well. And she was just so happy and so joyous. Another woman came bouncing in, mother, because her daughter, who was 13, had just had an operation, a successful operation on her spine, a fusion of the spine. She had scoliosis, or I can't quite remember exactly what it was. But the young girl was up and walking 24 hours after she'd had the surgery. It was a huge success, and she was so overjoyed. And on top of that, she was overjoyed with all of the wonderful gifts and so on that she had received for her family and so forth. And the stories go on and on and on. And I'm telling you this because it's because of you. It's because of you that these things are happening. Those of us who are just blessed to serve yesterday represented you on your behalf. We were there on your behalf. And so know that as a community, great good things are happening because we come together like this, because we give, because we support. And remember, we're here to serve, and for no other reason. And we're here to give and give and give. And yesterday was the beautiful example of the givingness of godliness in loving service by every person who was there in that room. Everyone. And everyone awed, and everyone humbled, and everyone extremely blessed and feeling fulfilled and joyous as a result of it. Proud to be representatives of all you beautiful people who made that happen. So I do want you to feel that joy that those people had, and feel the difference that you have made in the lives of those people and the people they know. And know that this Redondo Beach Center for Spiritual Living is a happening place, and it's a place that's causing good to happen. And most of it you will never know about because a lot of it is done undercover. And it's thanks to you. So gratitude is pouring out to you right now for all of your loving givingness, all of your generous service, all of your kindness, and your endeavor to come and create a community, to come and be here for each other, to come and create, more than anything else, I'll use the word safe community. Everyone is just looking for a safe environment. Forget all the holy nonsense that some people quote and we don't see it in evidence. It's about a safe environment. Can a person come here and feel safe? Can a person come here and feel that they are only here to receive a reminder of the best of themselves? And not the worst of themselves, but the best of themselves. And for that to happen, you and I have to be really on our spiritual mettle, speaking no evil, listening to no evil, participating in no evil, but only being the image and the likeness of our source and the givingness of God back onto itself by means of each other. That's why we're here. Now you can forget all the theories in the world if that is not happening in a practical, responsible, down-to-earth way, you see. Because if I have the velvet tongue and I speak as angels do and do not have love, I am simply an empty old gong ringing. Even if I give myself up to be burned at the stake for whatever, and I do not have love, I'm nothing. The scriptures tell me I'm nothing. I am no thing without true, unconditional, unconditioned service and giving and love. Now, how long will it take for us to get that? You dare not talk about your neighbor in less than those terms, and neither do I. You dare not enter into any kind of communication with your neighbor in less than those terms if you want to have a fulfilled and joyous, meaningful, purposeful, advancing, unfolding spiritual life. However, if you don't choose that, you don't choose that. It's your sovereign right not to. It's your sovereign right to hang on to your resentments. It's your sovereign right to gossip. It's your sovereign right to take from and give nothing. It's your sovereign right. And you can choose to do that, because sooner or later along the line of your eternal life and living, you'll stop doing that if any of us are participating in that. We'll stop it eventually. But I think we're all here because we want to do it sooner rather than later. That's the feeling I get. And today is about you thinking about yourself as amazingly awesome and wonderful and magnificent. As the scriptures say, you are wondrously and magnificently made. You are wondrously and magnificently made. Can you believe it? Because if you don't believe it, it doesn't matter who believes that about you. People will think good things about you, but if you can't think about yourself in good terms, that doesn't matter. Doesn't make any difference. You are magnificently, you are wondrously made. You are the image, you are the likeness of infinite divine love and intelligence itself. And you are whatever it is you choose to think and choose to feel. Let us choose to think and feel that we are wondrously and magnificently made. And so it is.